Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here with my little friend, the Raven. Today is Saturday, September, what did I wrote down? 6th, yeah, 2025. And this is my Flosstube update number 402. And this is my little friend, the Raven. I was house sitting last week for my sister Naomi, and well, she went to the Grand Canyon, and she got me this little raven, stuffed raven there at the place where they were I guess they stopped to see the Grand Canyon, and they have a lot of ravens in there, so she got me this little guy. He's a little friend, it's cute. Anyway, so he's gonna watch while I do this. So for the last couple weeks, I've had like very little I've been relatively monogamous, because I was trying to finish my August cross-stitch camp piece, and I sort of finished it and sort of didn't. So I don't know. I don't know if it really qualified for the challenge or whatever. I was working on, of course, the Starry Night Viscornu. The August challenge was stitch something new to you, and this was a new designer, Cosford Rise Stitchery. So I was working on the Viscornu, and I had shown before that I had finished the top page, the top part of the Viscornu. But I did not finish the little border thing around the end. I just did the thread that I had, handy. And on this design, it has, instead of a backstitch line, it has like a full cross line in this little border. So anyway, I did part of it, and just stopped doing it because I had not done the back side of the Viscornu yet. So I had finished this except for the border. And this past week, or the week before, last week of August, I worked on the back side of the Viscornu, and finished it. These little threads this is the top of the square, and this is the middle. And I went ahead and left them on both pieces, left the middle middle thread, so I can put the buttons on it to when I do get around to finishing the border part. Let me put this behind it so you can see it a little better. So this was relatively easy compared to the front, because the only big stitching was these little stars in the corner, but it was just lots and lots of little fiddly, little motifs, little individual stars, little squirrels, and all that. So I don't know, I can't get a really good light in here. I don't know. So again, I did all the stitching except for the little edge border stitching on it. So it's finished and not finished. But that is the Starry Night Viscornu by Cosford Rise Stitching, and that is 18 count Ada that I dyed myself for that. So that was my August cross stitch camp piece. I'm trying to get the better lighting angle on this. But I also worked on my August WIPGO squares, and so one of them was the Beaver. This is Cottage Garden Samplings pattern, A Year in the Woods, number 11, I think. Yeah, and this was my August number 12. Yeah. Number 12 is one of the WIPGO numbers. So So before I had, done the tree, I'd done one of the colors of most of these leaves on here. I had done the cabin, and I had done part of the beaver. So, of course, the cottage garden samplings patterns use like a couple of fancy floss colors and the rest in DMC. So, like this orange pecan, color is pecan actually, this sort of orangey color on the arm, front leg, and the rump of the beaver, and then this darker color on the beaver's tail and on its excuse me, on its feet and all that is the other, I think it's charcoal, I think is the, I have it right here, charcoal is the other fancy floss color. Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. I didn't have time to even pause it. Is the other fancy floss color, and the rest are DMC. So on the beaver's body, I did all the DMC, and I did not do the fancy floss. And here I got started on the gray, the light gray color on the tail, and didn't do the fancy floss. But I got to the end of my 7 days, squeezed it in there. I think Sunday was the end of my 7-day period. But so I didn't do any more on the leaves or anything like that. But I did all the colors on the beaver on his body, except for the fancy floss colors that go here on his rump and here in his arm. But I don't know if you can tell on these little diamond shapes, there's like a kind of a pink melon color that's in here all along these little designs, along with the brown the brown that is used here, and then so these blank spots here and here and here are all that fancy floss color. And there's some ecru, it's a little hard to see in this light, but there's some other colors along here. So his face is complete. You can see his face there. And then everything except, again, the pecan colors here and back here. And then I did the tail. I did the one gray color on the tail. So I did the diamond pattern down the tail, except for there's like this color of bluish in the middle of these things, and I just did the one color. And so I was starting to go down the tail with these little plus sign designs, and got around there when I sort of had to stop. Did 7 days and I had to stop. I would have loved to have finished those little plus sign things, but I was running out of time, and so that was what I did so far on the beaver. So I don't know, hopefully at some point when it gets called again next year, I'll be able to finish it. I'm getting a lot of these year in the woods patterns. I've only finished one, and that's the fox, number 1. And all the rest I've gotten now to the point when I worked on them so far this year, when they've come up this year, I've gotten them to the point where, maybe next time they come up, I'll be able to finish them. It just depends on what's going on. But anyway, so it's close. So just take a sip here, see if I can stop coughing, sneezing, and everything else. Went to In-N-Out today, had a showing. Oh, it's been a crazy few days, but we've had lots of showings, so fingers crossed. So we had one today, so it was like in the middle of the day here. Anyway, so my other WIPGO call for August was this Silver Creek Samplers Lost and Found. What's this? Sheep. So last time I had done like one color of this border, and the part of the saying up to about where it says this I pray, I had just started on that. And I had not done any of the rest of this. I had done some of the leaves. I had started on the end here and worked my way that way. So this time I had worked, I think when I showed it last time, I showed that I had worked on some of the leaves, one other color in this border, not all of it, not all the way across, but you know, for some of it. And I had finished, you know, a couple more letters here. So I think, yeah, that I got to this I don't think I even finished the R. I just ran, you know, did it until I ran out of thread or whatever. This I, where it says this I pray. I got the P and all but the last 2 stitches of the word, of the R. So I'm up to here with the, I'm working on, you know, I didn't finish the word pray. But so I still have all of this to go and all of this little detail here, or the sheep standing on. But I work, and the sheep's body is made up of 2 colors, a light and a dark, sort of grayish beige color. Anyway, so like I said, last time I worked on it, I had worked on one other color in this border. There's one more color besides the red, and there's a little bit of green here, and there's one other color. I can't remember what it is. But, and so the dove I had done the last time I worked on it, whatever, and most of the words, like I said, I did a little bit of the phrase, this I pray, but not all of it. And then I had worked on the leaves. So this last time, I started to work on this lighter beigeish color on the sheep, but instead I decided to finish the dark, the dark color, all the little swirlies. And I think the bottom part was already finished. The dark colors in the bottom were finished. And so here is still these little, again, there's kind of plus signs that are in this lighter, it's a little hard to see, this lighter color here. This is like 06 and 07 or something like that. Yeah, so they're very close in color, but so I did the darker swirly colors, and then I did, you can barely see it here, I did the sheep's legs. I did 3 of them. There's a 4th leg. It has, and then I did not yet do the hooves on the legs. So, but I hit the 7 days on this one as well. So hopefully next time I work on it, whenever that will be, I'll be able to finish it. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, because I have a lot of that hillside that he's standing on. That's a lot of stitching, as well as the border underneath and all of that, and lots of leaves. Yeah, so yeah, you can see lots of leaves. The words here will probably go quickly enough once I get going on them, and this border thing. And this is from 2020 is the year that's on there. That's probably about how long I've had this. And I kind of am anxious to get some of this done, but I had to work my way down to the legs. So like I said, I had 3 of the 4 legs done, and I still have to do their hooves and all that. And I'd like to get all these leaves in. That takes a little time to stitch. So I don't know. Next time, I don't think I'll be able to finish this next time it comes up, but I'll be able to make some good progress on it hopefully next time. So anyway, that is Lost and Found, and this is on 28 count Lugana that I dyed myself, and the Beaver is, I think it's 28 count linen that I also dyed myself. I think all of these fabrics, most of them I should say, are fabrics that I dyed just because it's easier for me to dye them myself than to spend a lot of money buying them. And I'm not really hung up on like the called for fabrics. I don't necessarily go with that. I usually go with something that the stitching will look good on, and you know, if I don't have a piece of fabric already dyed, you know, that'll work, then I'll just you know, when I can, dye it myself. Right now, all of my fabric dyes and all the sort of equipment that I had, sorry, I didn't mean to jostle this, I had, you know, bought some plastic like shoebox kind of things, and I had all those dyes and all this stuff, and it's all in storage right now, so I'm, you know, kind of in limbo. And I have, my younger sister has one color of blue, one color of blue, and I have at her house one shade of green. And you know, because I don't want to buy duplicate dyes because I have a whole bunch of them, but I don't know when I'll get to it. So I've been using, like, you know, whatever scraps or whatever things I have for new starts. And speaking of which, one of my new starts for August was the Jingle Ball official Jingle Ball ornament, which is these little Santa Clauses, and I just did one of them. I was going to do two, but I didn't have a piece of fabric that was big enough to do both of them, because I had wanted to do like one, like do them back to back and do like one ornament, because they're essentially the same, that just one leans one direction, one leans the other, but they're both 27 by 58, so I wanted to do both of them on, you know, on either side and make a little sandwich of, you know, the two. But anyway, I just did one, so, you know, so far. So this is on 14 count Ada. I think it's just a leftover scrap of something I had done before. So I just started, this is the center, and I just did 2 rows of white for his hat. Yeah. So I may do the other one on some other compatible fabric that that I'll be able to sandwich them together. I don't know. It's just, but so far there's one Jingle Ball, and that's, like I said, there for my new starts. I don't have a specific goal, so on Sunday, on one, I think it was the last of the month, I just like crammed them all in. I did a little bit of this and a little bit of that. My other new start for August was the blue flower. This is Merry Menagerie. It's a it came out at the Jingle Ball also. I bought it at the Jingle Ball. Yeah, Merry Menagerie 2024. And on the one that was called was Killdeer. I have this on there 3 times. Killdeer, Axolotle, Blue Penguin. So Killdeer was the one for August. And so this is 32 count Fleur, Murano Carré, in the colorway is Fleur, and these are like, kind of like painted on, because they're not on the back, right? And I had this left over from the Rabbit series. They were all on Murano Carré of different shades. And so I have this piece left over, and I have a larger piece that was like a larger square that the rabbit was taken out of. And so Killdeer is going to go on here, and I have enough to do the Axolotle and the Blue Penguins all in the same fabric. So they'll all be eventually on this same kind of fabric. So this is a Killdeer, and I just did the middle one. I started in the middle, I did the middle Killdeer, and that's just his belly. And you can see here, that's the belly of the middle bird. Yeah. So anyway, that was all I did. And that leads me then to my September new starts is Axolotle on here. So I'll be doing that. Some more in this pattern, and be doing Axolotle by the Blue Flower. So anyway, speaking of my September new starts, the other new start for September is Holiday Stroll by Teresa Kogut. With Santa Claus and a reindeer, not Rudolph, because he doesn't have a red nose, but a reindeer. And they're pulling a snowman, and then there's all kinds of Christmas designs. And this was also December 2024, this, at the Jingle Ball also. And this is 118 by 100, or 184 by 115, something like that. I looked it up a minute ago, and it's already flown out of my head what the stitch count is. It's something like 184 by 115, I think. And so one of these cute Teresa Kogut designs. Yeah, 184 by 115. Yeah. So I have to find a fabric that it'll work on. And something, you know, looks like something neutral that the white will show up on, you know. Yeah, I like the way she finished it here. But, yeah, so that's my other new start. And then my whips for September are this one, oopsie, it's a freebie from Little House Needleworks that I had printed off some time ago and stuck it in one of my issues of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, and I had basically forgotten that I had it. But I came across it, I don't know when. This is from 2013, but I think I just came across it somehow, somewhere else, somehow, some other way, and printed it off and all that. I guess I printed it. Maybe I don't know. But so it's a little faded, a little hard to see, but yeah. So there are 7 vines and this little snowman, and it's outlined in white around there. Now I think on the pattern it calls her ecru, but I'm using B5200 because my sister and I joked about ecru makes it look like it's a peed-on snowman, but also on this fabric white, you know, works better. So there's the 7 pines. It's come up, I just worked on it, I think 2 or 3 days out of the 7 that's called for. And so I finished the border, and I kind of had to fudge one corner because I got up here and I realized that somewhere in here, I don't know if it's when I placed the 3 red stitches here, somewhere along the line, I had one of these stitches is like 4, over 3 instead of over 2. You know, it's off by half a square. And so I kind of had to like fudge one of these squares to make it all line up right. But you can't really see because it's so tiny. This is 46 count Bristol linen from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, so now all that's left really is, I did all the trunks. And so that little snowman, and then there's some white like swirly things around here. And I think that's all that's left. So the snowman has like, you know, a dark hat and there's some red, like a red scarf and red red border on his hat. And there's a carrot nose and and French knots for the eyes and all that. So yeah, like there's a few little like kind of diamond shaped like snowflake kind of things, and a couple of swirlies and some snow on the ground underneath the pines here. But so it should be pretty easy to finish this pretty quickly. Well, not quickly because it's tiny. I had to really concentrate on this, but I should be able to finish it easily enough. And this is a needle minder from the attic. It's yeah, the attic where samplers rule. Yeah. Anyway, so this is one of my WIPGO things, and I think like I said, I stitched on it 2 or 3 days, I think. And then the other one is Sweet Wing Studio Deep Waters, This is my other September WIPGO start. And so last time I worked on it, I'd done, there's a white in this border here. So I had done all but the white in the border. And I had done part of the whale, and I'd done all the words, and these fish and crab and octopus. And I had started on this, the Bible verse thing, Isaiah 43:2. I had not finished it. I think I just like done like part of it like that. So I finished the quote, the thing, and I finished the little pink around it, and I gave all the animals their eyes. I still need this little smile thing on the whale. I didn't do that yet. And I did the white in the border up here. And I did this little blow on the whale, except that somewhere in here, I got off by by 1 stitch, because the whale should be like 1 stitch higher or something, or because I think this is in the right place, but I think the whale is 1 stitch too low. So I fudged it by adding a stitch here in this little, where he was blowing, and then one of the white stitches up here, I counted it twice, and I moved it or whatever, and it's still in the wrong place. So yeah, I think it should be like half a stitch higher or something like that. It's hard to see because it's a little tiny white stitch. But so I just kind of faked it. And so this little bubble is kind of in the right place in relation to this border, and all of these little swirlies are in the, supposedly in the right place. So it's just the whale itself that's off by 1, and so it maybe is too close to these stitches over here, but it doesn't really impact anything else, So yeah, so I have like more of this little swirly water to go, and then there's a few more bubbles. I want to say above this fish here, there's a couple more bubbles here. And other than those swirlies, oh, there's another section of border down here, and some like green stitching underneath this little sign thing. But otherwise, it's almost finished. So I may be able to finish this as well. And I think I've done almost about 5 or 6 of the 7 days on that. But if I'm close, I'm just going to finish it, So, and this is on 28 count Ugana that I dyed myself. Pull that thread off of there. Yeah, I really like this. I think it's appropriate for this pattern. It's a little busy, I think, maybe, but in some ways it's very, the colors are good for this design. Yeah, so that's my other WIPGO piece for this month, and I was working on it today, and I think today is this 5th or 6th day that I worked on it, because I took 1 day, I think, to work on that 7 pines, because today is the 6th day of September, but I think I've only done 5 days on that stitch, so I may be able, like I said, to finish it. Oh, and I wanted to say upcoming is the Harvest Moon Hangout. I need to buy my ticket still. I haven't not done that. I've been distracted. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So I hope to get that done soon. Harvest Moon Hangout. The general admission tickets are $15 a piece, and it is September 19th through the 21st, I believe. All the information will be in the description box below, and you can go to the Lindy Stitches website and read more about it or whatever if you're interested in that. So other than that, I actually am glad to have the sort of pressure of cross-stitch camp off of me. Like I said, we've had a lot of we've had, I don't know, 3 showings maybe in the last week of the house, so that's a good thing. But it's exhausting. Oh my gosh, because my poor cats. We have to pick up all the cat stuff and clean my room and make so. I don't know if this is jiggling around. Sorry, I keep hitting the table and jiggling with the computer. But anyway, so I always say it's a double-edged sword. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing in that people are coming to look at the house. It's a bad thing in that it's exhausting to do all the to make sure everything's clean, everything's put away, everything's straightened up, get the cats out of the thing, and But we've kind of got it down to a science in a way, so it's not so bad. But anyway, that's what kind of interrupted my day today. Otherwise, I would have done done my update this morning or whatever, or right at noon or whatever. Anyway, so I believe I've gotten everything. Yeah, I think that's it. So, again, thanks for watching. Welcome to my new subscribers. I have a handful of those, and welcome back to my continuing subscribers. And we shall see where this goes. Yeah, so I will see you next week. Hopefully I'll have made more progress on my whips. And actually, I was talking about before. I don't know if I mentioned it on here. I may have a few weeks ago that I had bought some little crochet kits, these sort of amigurumi stuffed animal kind of things, and like Wooble, kind of like Woobles, only not Woobles, because Woobles are very expensive kits, but these are like inexpensive, like Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Michaels, whatever kits. Michaels, I think one from Michaels and one from Walmart. But I don't crochet. They're crochet kits. I don't crochet. So this is sort of theoretically my chance to learn. And a couple of, I think I have at least one punch needle kit. And so since I don't have cross-stitch camp to worry about, yeah, I'm supposedly gonna be working on learning to crochet and learning to do punch needle. We'll see when that happens. But yeah, so that's all what's coming up in the month of September. And like I said, those 2 WIPGO projects I have are very close to being finished. So we'll see how that shakes out in the next week or so. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you all, next week, but also for the Harvest Moon Hangout on the 19th. And yeah, so again, I'll see you then, and see you next week, and thanks for watching. Bye.